happens like
Never
once in
happens to
life.
us.
Once in life
Yeah.
that happens, you know. I once I was live for a huge score of the Meadowlands. I had 2 horses, and they were front by 5 and 12. The rest of the field top of the stretch, but the one, and I still remember it 20 plus years later. Test the Belmont Stakes, the test of the champion. That'll be coming up 2 weeks. Get your tickets. Going to be a great day of racing.
2 weeks from
Belmont
today.
Stakes, but total of 8 Grade 1 stakes. Great weekend of racing. Come out and join us. 12:30 to 6 here and at Churchill. And they're back on the turf at Churchill. They've had their share of lousy weather this week. But we are here with the races. So not a whole lot to talk about, I thought, in the early races here. We'll start out, I think, the 1 and 3, the 2 horses you and I have first and second, will vie for favoritism here. We'll look at tough tickets last time. And actually bet the winner of the race last time. David Argona liked the winner of the last race, paid a big price. It was my mom's birthday. And if you looked at that horse's PPs, and that's one of the beauties of Formulator, you can always go through and look at PPs, you would have trouble betting tough tickets in this race. Because
you would.
He was really supposed to win the race, even though, to be fair, it came up fairly quick.
It did, but you see the voided claim, and then nobody took him for the 16 last time. And like you said, the horse that beat him, and then even Red Revolution he was back in.
That was a hungry field.
Yeah.
And Big Castle, off the claim for Tom Morley, is a viable horse. And you can say, well, he shouldn't have lost to Forestwood Lane. Well, Forestwood Lane got an incredible ride from Trevor, who gave an amazing ride in yesterday's second race, by the way.
He did.
You know,
the Lafitte's Fleet.
Yeah, he gave that horse just a great ride. And
First one back from the couple of days off as well.
And I think, some people look at Trevor and say, oh, he's struggling at Belmont. He isn't struggling at Belmont. It's just very hard to get a lot of live mounts when suddenly you've got 6 Hall of Famers showing up in the room that weren't here before, but he holds his own with anybody. And now he's on this horse after giving the ride to beat it last time. And I have to admit, I'm a little tired of Big Castle, but I don't know. If you're trying to bet against the 3, he's only on a turn.
I'd be very surprised if somebody else won this race.
What about the 2 Breaking Stones getting Luis Saez?
I guess.
That is a pretty interesting rider change, to be fair.
Yeah.
And don't you think that Luis is going to be aggressive with this horse,
well,
which doesn't help the 3?
This horse used to have plenty of speed, and it's kind of dissipated as of late. But yes, I would imagine that if he was to have a chance, and B, with Louis aboard, he will be forward to that.
You have to imagine he would be. We'll see how that works out. See what happens in race number 1. Race number 2, because I knew that our friend Lee Einseidler would bring me lunch, because he usually brings lunch for an army when he comes here. I picked against his horse to do him a favor, to help him get to the winner's circle. What do you do with Secret Rules? I know he's supposed to win this race, Anthony, but he's going to be a massive short price. And don't you have at least a little bit of concern if he can just run it all anymore?
I have a concern about that, but, and this is a big but, a fraction of his ability is supposed to beat these horses.
I don't disagree.
And I think he still has a fraction of it left, yes.
So. The problem with him, though, is even when he was good, he never won. Now, obviously, he never ran against horses like this.
Right.
He's probably going to win this race. I couldn't take him on top.
Did Lee bring more sandwiches, or there'll be more claims in for Secret Rules today? I'm going to say more claims.
If I were Lee, I'd bring a couple of sandwiches for everybody that tries to claim the horse just to thank them. But you're right. That's a good question.
This got to be double digits, right?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I would imagine it's double digits.
I'm going to make the over-under 12.5. That's a tough number, right?
That's the perfect number. You'd be good in Vegas.
That's a tough
That's
number.
the perfect number.
Tough number.
If you gave me 3-2, I would probably take the over.
What were the number of claims for that filly that they left in? Was it the day after the Belmont?
The
closing day at
Pharaoh?
Belmont? No. The closing day at Belmont a few years ago, there's a filly with a giant pedigree that they left in. I think 38 people tried to claim it. You know I'm
They
talking.
went to 2 pill bottles.
Yeah,
yes.
the horse had value as a broodmare, and they left it in.
2 pill bottles like 3 times, once down here and twice up at Saratoga a few summers back.
So as far as Dangerous Edge, I'm surprised you're on second, which is fine, by the way. This horse is in horrible form. His last 2 races are despicably bad. But Rob Atras took a shot and claimed. He's not dropping off a cliff off that. And for my money, he was the best alternative. I don't trust him at all. I don't disagree with the 3 Big Gray is a little bit interesting, Randy Persaud. I did find an interesting thing about Randy Persaud, who claimed the Big Gray. We've talked about it. The Aqueduct had great numbers off the claim. He is 0 for 6 off the claim at Belmont with none hitting the board.
Okay.
So
I'm going to make a 5-3 in here. Dangerous Edge's last 2 races, I couldn't do it. I understand people looking to do it. I'm going to make a 5-3 in here and try and get Randy second at a big price.
I'm going to try to get Rob to wake up Dangerous Edge.
Okay.
We'll see what happens with Secret Rules. In my heart, I hope he wins.
Yeah.
For Rob.
Of course. For Lee.
Lee, excuse me. Race number 3. What'd you do here?
Went to the
Oh,
5.
I got a video for you. We'll take a look at
Yeah.
a light who's been in great form. Best form of an 0 for 33 career you'll see. Tuesday's Child. So you're betting nearest the race they come out of, where a light lost to Toughlin and Nova lost a fight. I guess you're betting on the rider change?
I want the rider change for a horse that's going to be on the lead under a kid who is one of the best gate riders we have here now. I mean, that's pretty much, that's something to say for a guy that's had his license for a little over a year. I think he's one of the best gate guys we have.
You're just doing this so that Gary Siaka won't be mad at you anymore for not picking. And you didn't pick the 6 because he was claimed away. So this whole show is about you sucking up to Gary Siaka. You're such a pushover.
I really am.
You really are pathetic.
Yeah. So Tuesday's Child, he's just under the 0 for 10. This is the last time technically I could pick him on top
that's
under
a
my
rule?
silly rule. It's my silly rule, yes. 0 for 10. I don't have too many absolutes in racing, but
But you have many silly rules.
well, I have many silly rules in life.
I like the Sleepy Chipmunk, and I know you're shocked that I picked a Chad Summers horse.
I am. But he could definitely win this race.
Well, I'll tell you something else about this horse's one dirt race. There's a realistic argument you didn't want to be on the rail that day, and this horse never left the rail.
Okay.
I mean, he hit the gate coming out and got left. I actually thought he ran fine. And you look at that race, the second horse improved the figure a lot. Other horses have come out of that race, they've improved their figures reasonably. And I look at this field, and it's just a bunch of, horses have had a million chances. Front Porch is the horse to beat in here. I don't have any illusions. Front Porch seems very logical, just dropping down here. He's not much horse, but I mean, isn't he the horse to beat here by a lot?
Right. But the problem is, and I don't disagree with you on the drop itself, he's the horse to beat.
He is.
There's 2 problems, I think. One, he's dropping all the way to the bottom right away. And the other problem is, do we really think he wants to go this far? I mean, he's losing ground in all of
Well,
his...
George Weaver does, and he's only...
I
Well,
guess.
he didn't lose ground in his first
Well,
start.
the
Mile
first,
and
I mean,
eighth.
yeah, but I mean...
That
you
was
and
that
I-
crazy
you and
race
I-
that collapsed.
Yeah, you and
I
I
know.
would have gained ground in the end of that.
You would
so
have. I
you would've
hit
stalled?
I
You
hit
would've stalled at the
the
3/16
mile
ball?
16,
Yeah.
the mile and eighth, and
Okay.
I'm out of gas. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's the horse to
but
beat.
there's a reason we bet drop downs.
Correct.
Because
Absolutely. He's going to
they-
find his friends here.
They find
No
their
question
friends,
about
right.
it.
So I don't have any illusions that one's the one to beat. But I think the Sleepy Chipmunk unfortunately, he's going to get bet a little bit off his turf form. I like him off his dirt race.
Right.
I wish he was making his second start, and he'd only run once
No
in the
turf
dirt,
races,
and
right.
I'd be getting a little bit of a higher price. We'll see how it works out in race number 3. Race number 4. We're going to be optimistic and say this one's on the turf. If it comes off, I actually like the same horse that I like on the dirt. I'm going to take a little shot at American Lincoln to wire the field. And I like American Lincoln to be speed in this race. I don't know. Who am I? So who'd you pick in here?
I picked Nuts for Bolts getting back to the turf finally.
Well, you're just betting on Noda. Doesn't it bother you that the Nodas came near a house on fire and haven't won a race since like the first week?
It absolutely does, but I want this horse back on the grass. I mean, I know they ran this horse on the dirt all winter long. I guess they didn't want to send the horse to the farm. I have no idea. He's not a dirt horse, obviously. But
his figures in the
getting back to
dirt are the
turf.
same as his turf figures, to be honest. But they are.
He's not doing much
His
running,
recent
though.
form, he's just in bat. Okay. All right, good luck. I think I'm third, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there aren't a lot of options here. I mean, I think Battalion is dangerous getting back on the turf, but you start looking through the races. There's nobody here with any speed. And American Lincoln,
With Battalion is you got to get him to the starting gate. He's one of the worst acting horses
is he?
I've ever seen in my life. He's dumped Junior Alvarado. He's dumped John Velasquez. It's even in the short comment last time out of town. Unruly Priest. I mean, he is one of the worst behaved horses that has made 18 starts that I've ever seen. More often than not, these horses aren't allowed to run anymore. But
he was one of the craziest claims I've ever seen.
Yep.
It's not as crazy as Perceive not being claimed for 40 and selling for 30,000 more than Country Grammar a week later, but this horse won for 10 on a sloppy track, and they claimed for 40. But he can win here. But his last race was not good, and I looked through this race, and there's a whole lot of horses I just don't trust, and there's also sort of not much speed in here, and I feel like American Lincoln is supposed to be forward. I also thought his last race was okay. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was okay. And his other turf races were his first 3 races. So how do you really judge them? I mean, he didn't run particularly good buyers, but he's improved a lot since then. And I don't know. I thought his last race was good enough to win here. I just thought he made a lot of sense.
I don't know how much of an impact he will have on the outcome. And I don't like betting on horses that were formerly with Todd Pletcher. I would imagine Mo Reddy is going to be forward.
He has no speed. I'm going to show you a stat. Rudy Rodriguez, trainer switches on the turf with routers. He's 0 for 15 with only 3 hitting the board.
Well, that's why I said I don't know what kind of an impact he's going to have, but I would imagine
he's
going to be forward.
Yeah, I just don't think he's much horse. So I don't. American Lincoln's at second. Let him go. I couldn't care less. I mean, you got him third. I don't want any part of that horse here.
You're gonna listen. Yours is going to be 10-1. So
I wish I could make a case for Jack the Cat too, as he's dropping. But
God, he was so bad last time. You hope. I mean, if you're me, you know, and you like him a little bit, you're hoping he needed to race off the break.
But he drops off.
But he drops.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And he's got a terrible trainer.
Getting back to Belmont, he's had a lot of success at Belmont. He never missed a board
Ray
in
or
6 starts.
Jack?
Jack.
Or both. We love him.
Jack.
I'm kidding.
Yes. So I want to, based on the horse for course angle, I want to use him a little bit.
I mean, I'm not going to get in a soapbox about anybody. In
Right.
that
No,
race.
you can't.
I gave
It's
a long
impossible
look to every horse in that race to try to come up with some sort of ideas.
And if you told me Battalion was going to behave today, I would have had him second. But I just don't know. You know, you never know what you're going to get with that horse.
Maybe if he behaves, he won't run at all.
Perhaps.
So, race number 5 at a mile on the turf.
And like Andy said, keep in mind there's some rain possibly in the forecast, so there are some also so some main track onlys are
Not
still left in. Not too many.
The one race that's a little tricky is the
7th, right?
Well, because all those horses are entered tomorrow. Tomorrow or Monday?
Both. I think there's
I think it's
some tomorrow, some Monday. No.
I think it's
well,
tomorrow.
one's a New York bred race.
I think it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay.
I think it's tomorrow
I
because I didn't make my picks, and I wrote down I can't make picks in the race until I know
Me either.
which horses are going to, if these horses run today. And we're optimistic guys, hard as it is to believe.
Yes.
So we're going to hope for the best.
Very much so.
So race number 5, what'd you do here?
I really like Libretto. I knew they liked this horse a little bit. He ran into Expand the Map first time out. I should say. I thought she ran well enough. I know Expand the Map didn't get the job done.
That was a bad race.
It wasn't a great race. I thought she ran well. She gets blinkers. Second time out, she has the race under her belt now. I've been looking forward to betting her back.
You're going to get.
She's back.
You're going to get.
I'm going to try and get Georgie. I'm going to try and get Georgie off.
It was the last thing you do.
Yeah.
Okay, I got him 4th. I don't particularly like the horse, but okay. We'll start out and look at I'm Glad, who you've got second.
Are you, Andy? Are you glad?
Anthony, I'm glad to be sitting here with you.
Always.
I love the Kingmans. The horse who was 3rd in here, Personal Best, got rained off last week. Is pretty good. This horse broke a step slow, was 3 wide around the racetrack. I thought this horse ran a very credible race first time out, and I know he's going to take a lot of money, but I just think he's very logical.
Makes a ton of sense.
She is, excuse me. Yeah.
She makes a ton of sense. Yeah, this was a nice effort. She didn't really take that much money that day. She was wide off the turn. Yeah, I thought she ran well.
So
no real knock on her.
The next replay we show is Mose, and we'll look at Mose's last race. I thought I put this in because I thought you'd pick this horse because you love Belmont. Keep in mind, this is by the way, the reason that Pratt was suspended for 3 days last weekend was this race. This was a wild race because you had 2 Chad Brown horses, a very well-bred European pedigree for Bobby Flay. He just got steadied out there, and she would have been closer. But you had the horse for Shadwell, who had been highly touted for a while, and they both lost to that Christophe Clement horse, who cost about $40,000. Just showing you don't have to spend a lot of money always to have success in the game. But
correct.
That may have been an unusually tough maiden race. And don't forget, this horse hasn't been on the turf since the end of its 3-year-old year. Mose seems to me to be very dangerous in here. I know the horse has had chances and keeps being there, but this horse may be coming out of a very tough field.
Yeah, the multiple chances, I didn't love the fact that, I know they weren't intended races, but Bill ran her twice on the all-weather down there at Gulfstream. I mean,
she was 2-1 and 9-5.
No, well,
it's a 6-horse field.
No, I know.
He got checks. He paid his way.
I know.
So Chad Brown has 2 horses in here that are trying the turf for the first time. One is Lakota Spirit, who will probably be 3 to 5 if this race comes off the turf. Though I'm going to pick Whiskey Lullaby, the 11, if this comes off the turf. That horse doesn't really have much turf pedigree, and this feels like a sort of desperation move at this point because he's a frustrating horse. He was a little against the racetrack last time, to be fair. I like Chaberton of the 2. I mean, this is all turf. You got special duties I have to this horse, a super turf horse, and this is a giant turf pedigree for Juddmonte. And I almost wonder if Chad ran this horse in the dirt once because he thought the horse might be good enough to give it a chance in the dirt, or maybe I doesn't usually give him a race. I have no idea what it was, but this horse has a giant pedigree, so I'm going to go to Is it, how do you pronounce it? Chaberton? Chaberton?
I think
Must
it's
be a place, right?
I think it's Chaberton.
Should we call it Chatterton?
I think it's Chaberton. Chadberton?
Yeah, it was
Chadber-
Chatterton. Or
Chadberton.
I'll ask. We'll find out. Johnny I will know. Yeah. Unlike us, he's actually a professional. I thought this was a fun race, though. A good race.
I've been waiting to bet libretto back.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks. You too.
Oh, that's a pick six starter, too, by the way. 43,000. Thank you, Francisco.
Wow,
for
Francisco saving us.
No, you know, he was doing well until that. $43,523. He didn't save us. I remembered. Okay, I want. Give me the credit. That Francisco guy.
I can't.
You're always giving that guy credit.
Wow, unbelievable.
All right.
He's my second favorite Francisco.
We're not done yet, but we are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Hello, welcome back. I just wanted to let people know about some scratches. Race number 4, they have scratched MTOs. They scratched the 6, Grumps Will Tots, and they scratched the 1 Mississippi. They are, I believe, the 2 MTOs that are left. Obviously, with the pick 5 and such coming up, you have to make a decision. And,
pick 6 as well. With
should we look and see if there's a new weather report coming?
Sure.
We love weather reports. It's the same as it was.
Okay.
Same as it ever was. Race number 6 is an interesting race. I'm not going to show you the last race at Finger Lakes for Tell a Perfect Tale, but I will say in all fairness, the horse completely did stumble at the start and lost all chance at the start. The race 2 back that we're showing you right now when Francisco wakes up, I hear him snoring. Did you hear? She'll win this race by a city block if she runs this race.
An absolute. The fact of the matter is, those races. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
2, 3, and 4 back make her extremely tough.
No, you're dead.
Extremely
right.
tough.
Unless you think Making My Move is going to refine that form, and we'll get to her in a moment.
Yeah.
I don't trust her. You know I never trusted her.
I know you don't.
And you kind of wonder if the clock will strike 12, but the reality is that she's been in great form, and she's just the horse to beat. We both have her second. You're taking Making My Move, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take the shot off the layoff of Doc Kimmel here. First time Lasix for the daughter of Carpe Diem. She looked really, really good in her debut. She's got enough turf pedigree to give it a shot in the and she ran really well in the Matron behind some nice fillies. I mean, she ran a really good race in the Matron. Obviously, something's amiss. She was, I didn't love the fact that she was gone for the 6 weeks. Though I guess you're going to wait and run her in the State Bred Stakes race. And then she's gone again. Now she's gone for a considerable amount of time, 6 months. But she comes back with the Lasix, sharp work tab on paper. She started down in South Florida, continued up here on the training track at Belmont. And, yeah, I wanted to give her the slight edge over Tell a Perfect Tale.
Obviously, she can win this race, and she does have this fast race in the dirt debut that could easily get to a figure that makes her winnable, even if Tell a Perfect Tale runs a race. I saw this stat, and I want nothing to do with this horse. I picked her third because she can win, but John Kimmel off 4 to 8 month layoffs on the dirt. That's a cue, Francisco.
Boom.
That's
yikes.
Pretty scary. And
it's a good picture of John, though.
Says that it is a good picture of John. It just says these horses too often need a race. So that scared me, and I agree with you. She can absolutely win this race. There's nothing to argue with. She ran well enough in her debut, but I don't like her last race, and I don't trust this horse at all.
Okay. Listen, I really don't have a great argument against not trusting her. I trust her, but if you don't trust her, it's 3/4. She's in the right spot. I think if he's going to get away with one of these, yeah, right.
I like the 7 Ready AP, a horse I've never liked in the
Wow,
past.
yeah. This is 2 shocks today.
I thought this horse's race that we'll show here off the layoff was actually incredibly good. This race pace really heated up, and she was dealing with Lilu, who I still think could turn out to be a good horse, though her absence makes me think there's something amiss with her. And Bank on Anna just got the perfect trip. I mean, she had a perfect. She did stumble at the start, but she ended up being able to pick up the pieces at the end. I know it wasn't a very good fig. I think this race was actually a lot better than it looks. And then for some reason, Christophe ran her on the turf. I know she's a more than ready. Maybe just want to get turf out of the way. Is she a turf horse? She was one of the worst 3-to-1 shots in the history of racing last time. An AP Indy Dam, not a great turf situation. Now she gets right back to dirt. She had the race off a layoff. She had the turf race, and now she's ready to run. Now the question is she good enough? I don't know, but if she is, we'll find out at a fair enough price today.
Right.
And she's always a horse. You know, she did blow the break in her debut. She could be a little bit better than she looks. I don't love her, but she was my alternative. I thought Silver Fist wasn't impossible in this race. She ran some okay races as a 2-year-old. Why couldn't she improve for Chuck Lawrence?
She could. I thought Thinking It Over ran well last time. I don't know what happened in the 2 prior starts. Yeah, I thought she did. I mean, I know she got into some trouble too back. I don't know what happened. But I guess maybe she doesn't want the mile. I thought her race last time was good.
Okay. Race number 7.
Despite Ray Handle.
Race number 7. Now this is one that hopefully will stay on the turf. There's so many MTOs in this race that are entered tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I thought Full Moon Fever were in the dirt, 13, but who knows if he'd stay in anyway. So what did you do here?
I very reluctantly went to Rally Squirrel.
Okay. Go ahead.
This was one of the races where I wish we could have hit the skip pick button because I wound up taking the 3-to-1 favorite, and I have very little confidence in this horse. But he showed some speed last time off of the 2.5 months.
He's kind of the horse to beat, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's what I mean. These races, I hate having to pick a horse like this.
What's wrong with him? I mean,
nothing. There's nothing wrong with him, right? It was
so
back to state rates for the first time. Yeah, I couldn't really.
Him second. He seems like a horse to beat to me. Huh?
I couldn't really find anybody I really wanted to sink my teeth into to take a shot against him.
I like Breadman. You know, we're going to show you Breadman's stretch last time, and I understand that Jose was in a bit of a spot, but I'm not sure why he didn't choose to angle out right there. Instead, he ducked inside. When does that ever work? When does that ever work? And you can see he's just completely intimidated by those horses. He just doesn't want to go through inside. Gets a little tight, and he keeps sort of running along. But this was also a race where it was wired up front by a horse, bar 14, couldn't really close. I just thought that was one of your cleverest moves of all time.
Gary Siak.
That's right. That's right. Now you're picking the horse in the third race or second race. This horse was okay last time. I thought it was the best race he ever ran. He's got some good turf for him. I think his last race showed that he's okay. No great shakes. He's the second choice in the line. But I prefer him getting Pratt. Thought it was a mistake last time the way the horse was ridden. I didn't really know where else to go, you know. Lord Flintshire, I don't know. He was buried in traffic last time, and that race was dominated forward. So second off a layoff, he could get a piece. Mr. Breadwinner, not impossible here, I thought. Didn't run that badly last time, a little wide early. But I don't know. I don't want Barrage.
I'm wondering. Yeah, I don't really want Barrage
either. Well, let's pick on Ray Handle, by the way.
I don't want Barrage either. I'm with you.
Shall we show the Ray Handle trainer stat?
You want to do it? Yeah, go ahead. We've already said enough things about him. He's got enough nice. Wow.
Ray. You might need to get to work on this, Ray.
This isn't even a personality stat.
We have some of those coming up later. We have personality stats about ourselves either.
I hope everybody out there realizes how much we both love Ray.
We wouldn't make fun of him. We didn't.
Exactly.
I think people have figured that out by now.
I hope so.
I didn't like that stat. And he's getting this horse from Danny Gargan.
Yeah.
Not a guy.
Nope.
This horse can win. I mean, this is.
Yeah, but
this horse could.
As the third choice, maybe second. You know, the horse
could have been favored here, and you would have been shocked.
No, not for me. I'm going to tell you who I think can run in here. I want to use some ones. 2-year-old races on the turf. They were better than any of his dirt races for Tom Morley. He just got beat first time on the turf. Then he ran him in the state bred race, and he got the money. Listen, he's got to get a ton faster.
Anthony?
Yes.
I didn't print the stat because the horse is a big price. But I think at some point you have to acknowledge that Tom Morley doesn't win off layoffs with turf horses.
This was going to be 20-1.
He's not going to be 21, but he's not even going to be close to 21. But anyway, 120 days to 240 days in the turf. He's 1 for 32 with a 20-cent ROI. And this is something we've seen with Tom. We saw it with that filly we liked, that Franny Lou horse. His horses need races off layoffs. He had one the other day. I think he's 1 for 33 now. I think he had that sprinter here the other day. I hear you. I don't think what you're saying is wrong.
In a race where I don't trust the favorites, and this horse is going to be some kind of a price.
I ain't betting this guy. His horses need laced up. Maybe next time.
Maybe.
Okay, it's a price. I got you. It's going to have to improve, but I got you. Okay. He just doesn't. Horses just don't win off layoffs.
No, listen.
And he does it by design. It's not like he's not a bad trainer. That's for sure. It's
No,
I've talked to
far
him
from
about
it.
it. I've talked to him. We've talked about it. It's not. It's Christoph is very similar with that. And I believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame, just because he didn't get enough votes. So
Ridiculous.
the 8th race, I was going to bring my highly motivated hat.
I can't believe you didn't.
I thought there was a chance you might pick your horse, the Reds, who actually did run okay last time.
I'll put him second.
In here, look at highly motivated second to the horse who was retired for no reason, Essential Quality in the Bluegrass, and not a 1.25 mile horse. Last time out, seemed like a horse that probably needed a race.
Yep.
Got running too late in there. I will admit, I'm picking this horse a little bit because I'm a fan and I want him to win. He's got to run today, though. Today's the day. He's got to show up and run a big race day. If he loses, it's got to be because Stage Raider runs a 100 buyer and he runs a 98 buyer. Today is the day. If this horse is going to turn out to be the stakes horse he could be, and I mean, he almost beat Essential Quality in the Bluegrass.
Let me put it to you like this.
He better run. He better run today.
So I'm going to put it to you like this, okay? If you're telling me the horse he has to beat is Stage Raider, and you might be right. You might be right.
You're wrong.
I want to bet as much money on this horse as I possibly can.
You're completely wrong about that.
Okay.
I'll tell you one thing. If it rains a little bit, you want Stage Raider. You're wrong.
Maybe.
You're completely wrong.
Maybe. Now,
You're
that's, I'm
completely
talking
and
about,
totally wrong
well,
about that.
I just,
This horse, Stage Raider, ran a huge race last time. We'll take a look at it at Keeneland. This was a super gold rail, and he chased outside the whole time. And I'll tell you something else. Buck Moon came back and ran well out of that race. This horse ran last time. I'm going to tell you, before his last race, I was not a fan either. This horse's last race is very, very, very good. And this horse, based on his last race...
You really want to bet him off one race, Andy?
Well, he does have a 96 buyer. He won by 11, right? Well, he's better one race. He's got 2 races are good. He doesn't have to justify.
I know. I got it.
You are being way, way too hard on this horse. This horse's last race was extremely good. He was way against the track that day.
Okay.
And that was a fast race. I'm very scared of that horse. I understand the Reds ran well last time. I get it, and he did get shuffled a little bit. He also saved ground on the race in a day you probably wanted to be inside, and he'd have some good things happen to him, too.
Listen, part of the reason I put the Reds second is because I think it helps me to explain and make the point that I think highly motivated is so the horse to beat in here. He is my lean in the pick 5, the cross country. He's the lean everywhere for me today.
That's fine. You're way underestimating Stage Raider here.
I'm going to make a little 2-3.
That's fine.
I'll save a little small 2-9. You're kind of talking me into saving with the 2-9, to be honest with you.
I'm not telling you about anything. I'm just saying I think you are vastly underrating the chance to Stage Raider.
If I can get 2-1 on highly motivated today, I'm taking 2-1.
Okay. He's glad to know that. I think Captain Bombastic
Somebody
can
go
get a
tell him,
piece of
please.
this race, actually.
Okay.
He's going to stalk Sibelius. I thought he was a little bit interesting in here. His race 2 back was pretty darn good, actually. He runs that race 2 back. He has a chance to win this race.
Okay.
He didn't run well last time. I will not disagree with that. But his race 2 back is good enough to win.
Thought Kershaw might be able to get a small piece. Kind of runs, kind of been running well since being claimed by Wayne Potts / Monty Lucas.
Good luck.
I don't know.
I'm not betting horses from Oaklawn.
Okay.
Horses spent their winters running at Oaklawn.
Okay.
Overall,
Fair enough.
underperforming going forward.
Fair
This
enough.
horse had a long, hard campaign at Oaklawn Park, but I hear you. Race number 9, the Soaring Softly. One of many races named for horses trained
gonna say.
by James Toner. I miss Jimmy.
Me too.
I know.
Me too.
Good guy.
Great guy.
One of the really good guys in the
Yes.
game.
And a fantastic trainer. I mean, obviously, when we had the Breakfast at Belmont tours, I used to joke around when we would pass his barn. I would tell everybody, and there's a man that has 73 stakes races named for the Phillies he's trained in
amazing.
New York.
All those
It's like
Darby
4 or
Dan
5,
Phillips
right? It's like
horses,
5, right?
incredible pedigrees. I mean, those
Yeah.
broodmares, really good stuff. So
And he did it for a decade and a half.
the question in this race, I think the main question with the horses that we have 1, 2 in a different order, is distance. We'll look at Darry Nane's last race. I think a preposterous argument. Preposterous argument that Joel waited too long. The guy was riding the hair off the horse from the top of this. There's more ridiculous criticism. I don't know what it is that seems to rub people the wrong way about Joel Rosario. Maybe if they knew him a little, and maybe I'm biased because he's such a good guy, but
Right.
that's a fabulous rider. He was riding this horse at the top stretch. This horse takes a while to get going here. It really does. He wasn't sitting around idling,
No.
waiting to make a move. But I think you have to worry, is this horse sort of a 5 to 6 furlong type closing sprinter that's close is going to be, and maybe not. I'm not saying it's going to be the case, but they don't get better with more distance just because they're closers.
Right. I think that's the best. I think what we're both trying to say here is she has a kick, and does that kick become less potent with more ground? Right? Does the pace of the 5.5 furlong race help her? Yeah, it takes her a little time to get going.
There's no pace in this race with the 4 Wish You Well coming out. Who's going to lead?
I don't know.
Well, Sailby is going to be sitting in a good spot. I don't think Sailby should be.
And listen, I picked her, but the scratch hurts her cause probably more than anybody else in the field, because if she is in fact one of these one-punch, one-run closers, she's going to have to be a little bit more of a grinder today between the stretch out and the lack of speed in the race.
Except turf sprinting closer types, one of the things that makes them effective is like a Maxwell Esquire.
Mm-hmm.
The pace doesn't matter as much to them. They put in their run. I mean, obviously, you don't want to be a dawdling pace. You don't want to have one of your chief rivals having a significant advantage on you. The thing is, I think Wonka's okay. That horse is kind of improving. I don't love Wonka, but thought it was impossible. I didn't really see anybody that was that strong in here, and that's
you
why
may
I
have the right
contender.
horse in the mix here for the speed. Sailby has some speed.
She
I
lost
don't know
to
about
better
sprinting.
horses last time out.
Yeah.
She ran the fastest figure she ever ran. She's going to be forward in here, and I know she had everything her own way in the Miss Grillo, and I understand, but she did beat a decent horse in that race, so I'm not going to, I don't think she's totally impossible to get a piece, and people are going to be focusing so much on the big two that I think they're going to just sort of disregard everybody else in here. Even Lost My Sock, by the way, only finished a length behind Darrynane last time, and she's going to be a little forward. I think Dylan Dave's got to be a little aggressive, though she's not that fast. The question also is, what kind of horse is Charlie? See, with Darrynane, she has established her quality.
You don't know about
Charlie
Wesley's
Party
filly.
might be a one-hit wonder, but we'll look at her race, look at the start. One of the things that really impressed me about this filly was she broke about a length slow. A lot of horses, especially in the rail, that break a lay slow, they drop back.
She didn't.
She got right into the bit and got in there. The
Yep.
other thing that's amazing about this race is that it didn't fall apart. The horses that ran 2, 3, 4 in here were basically 1, 2, 3
She
around
just
the
ran.
racetrack. Not any other horse closed ground. Now, Irad was obviously very confident. He stayed on the rail. But nobody else is closing. She did break a little slow. And when she gets out in the clear here, I mean, my God.
Lights out. There's a lights out effort.
but
There's a big effort. She did everything right here.
But how confident are you she's going to do it at 7? Now, I like that she drew outside.
Well,
Better post for a horse that was a little, and usually horse getting left first time, I don't worry about that.
here's my question to you. There's a much better chance. Later. There's a much better chance she breaks more alertly today. Second time out,
And is
outside
more
draw,
forward.
and she's more forward in a race that doesn't have speed.
But does that
and
help
gives
her?
her? I think that gives her an edge on Derek. I think talent aside, seasoning aside, it has to give her an edge in here. It has to. Because she's going to be forward in a race. Like you said, we know what Darrynane is. It's hard to rail draw, first time out, 5.5, right on top of it. It's now she's drawn outside going 7/8. She might be laying a length and a half off the lead.
Maybe. It's not really Irad's style, but it's not impossible. I'm
3
very
lengths
curious
off
to
the lead.
them. I think I'm going to use Sail by anybody else that you have the 2.
No, I had a little breeze easy, but I
Come on, it's terrible
scratched in,
numbers with
yeah.
Euros. 6 for 59 foreign shippers on the turf.
I thought Wonka now, especially with the scratch, could be a little forward. I got some Wonkas in there.
Is there a Noompa Loompa in the barn if they're going to name horse Wonka? Well,
I don't know.
Augustus Gloop,
I don't know.
Veruca Salt.
I've never seen Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Okay, that's ridiculous. You
Phil has already
I
given
assume
me-
you.
Phil's
I think
already
Phil's
given-
in it actually, but
Phil will be in tomorrow.
you read the books, didn't you?
I did not.
You never read?
No.
Really? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
No.
Great Glass Elevator?
Nobody.
James the Giant Peach?
No.
I got to speak to Phyllis. This is why you are James. James and the Giant Peach was
reading the
my
forum.
favorite. Nah, those are great books. You kidding me?
I read a lot of history books when I was a kid.
Great books.
I was a big Ben Franklin guy. Whatever.
Race number 10.
Yes.
Let's take a look at a replay.
Okay. Who are you
With
gonna
horse
watch?
you have on top that I have third, Tonalistic, who is a bit dangerous. She breaks a step slow, and this is the same thing, you know, and he steadies back, and this is sort of Eric at his absolute worst, and now you get Jose Ortiz on this horse.
An
with an outside
draw.
post.
Yeah. Third off the long layoff. Wish there was, I kind of wish he had a little bit more ground, but
Why?
I would have liked a little bit more. It just looks like a horse that's going to want some more ground.
It looks like a turf sprinter to me, but okay.
Yeah.
They rarely do.
Oh, it was 7/8. So 7/8 would have been for me utopian, but I'll take the 3/4.
She didn't run great after that, but she was ridiculously
He was
far
so far back
and
that I mean, by the time he did any running,
no,
right?
he's dangerous. I'm going to use mostly 6'10", 12 in here.
Me
I
too.
kind of want to play against Sharp Sensation. My problem is This was a bad race. That's my problem with the race. It was a bad race. And I thought Sharp Sensation won sort of by default because how bad the field was.
Sounds ridiculous, but you'd rather have the also-rans out of the bad races than you'd rather have the horses that were on the money.
I want to revisit something, I think. Is it this today? Is it today or was it the other day? It's tomorrow, maybe. Okay. It's tomorrow. Martinez is an interesting horse in here because they just dumped this horse last time when turf season was starting. Because whether they thought they're going to win or not, and this is probably up there with the worst 1 to 2 shots in the history of horse racing.
Knew he was getting claimed.
He knew he was losing the horse, and turf racing starting, and he's not a dirt horse. And he's got turf races that would beat this field. Now, I don't trust that he can run anymore, but I also don't care that he ran badly in the turf.
On the dirt.
He's
Me
not
either.
a dirt horse.
He's not a dirt horse.
So
Nothing made sense about the race last time.
yeah, no, and they may have just dumped the horse, but Joe Brockbank, the assistant
the winner
from Mike
last time.
Maselli, I did. Yaha.
He's in
the
earlier
track.
today. He's in the second
Beat the
race.
track that day. What about Tom Morley's horse? We've got him second, 2
Yeah,
down.
of course.
Broke
Yeah.
a step slow. Thought this horse actually ran okay last time
So
out.
did I.
Yeah. I put him on top.
I'm like you.
Yeah.
12-6.
6'10",
a little
12.
10 for
6'10",
me. Yeah.
12 for me.
Yeah. Trying to beat, trying to beat Sharp Sensation.
It's not impossible.
No.
Obvious. Now let me, in the unlikely event this race comes off the turf, as bad as he is.
Did you find out weird it was that there were no MTOs for this race, by the way?
Yes. It's very strange.
Said that to Maggie yesterday. Found that really odd. Really, really odd. Who do you like off the turf?
MNC will be 1 to 5.
Yeah.
The problem in the race, if it came off the turf, is who do you back up? Because MNC's not trustworthy was last race, but who the heck do you back up with? I mean, there is no horse in this race that can run a step on the dirt. Right?
I would use the little ones. Fresh gelding, blinkers on.
I hear you. No,
Dropping down for
yeah,
the
he's
tag.
a little interesting. No, I don't.
He might even be,
Met some
he
good
was
fields.
5.5 to 1. He's the last horse
turf.
I'd like to just mention quick. He was 5.5 to 1 in his debut up in Saratoga. And now he gets
that was
back
a
to the
bad
turf.
field.
I know it was. But now he gets back to the turf, blinkers on, fresh gelding. You and I both talking about trying to bet against Sharp Sensation. He might be a horse you may want to have on a backup ticket at a giant price for a barn that pays big balloons when they win.
You heard it here first.
It was a little interesting, but that first turf race, that field was just awful.
What do you like in the Curtana today? It's a 2-horse race, isn't it? Horse that won it last year for Brennan Walsh, and the horse that ran in the bog here, the Lucky.
I don't want either of them. I went to the 2 new shooters. I went to Federalist Papers and the Gaffleone horse.
I understand you have to pick every
No,
car
I
of
don't
its
have to
horse.
pick.
I have great news for you. Great news. That horse is scratched.
Oh, I didn't go. So I like the Tyler Gaffleone horse. The horse that
Want
finished
to get
second
the
in the Astro.
scratches early for Churchill. Follow Kevin Kirstein, who works in publicity at Churchill. He's got both he and Darren Rogers are really good on Twitter, but Kevin gives it the scratches very early, track condition stuff
I didn't get
early.
those scratches yet.
Yeah, you
I like the
recommend that
Gaffleone.
if you're playing on Churchill and you want to get
Can't remember the name of the horse.
information. Follow Kevin; he's really good.
Hold on. Disappearing Act.
What number is it?
2.
Yeah, that horse is one of the favorites. I thought it was a 2-horse race between the 2 horses towards the outside. Anyhow, that's it. We're done.
We're done.
But the best is yet to come. It'll all start happening for you. Your whole life will come into focus when you join Naira Bets. You head on over,
All the questions in the universe
type
answered.
NairaBets.com into your computer, and the whole world is your oyster. Use the promo code Belmont25. Give you that extra $25 Belmont bet, as well as matching up to $200 of your initial deposit. We have a carryover in the pick 6, $43,523. Starts in race 5 of our 10-race card. The birds are excited today, aren't they? $20 bonus. You bet at least 75 here and Belmont and Santa Anita. Opt in, win or lose. They have their stakes today or their stakes on Monday?
Where?
Santa Anita.
There's Calibred stakes today. There's graded stakes tomorrow. Graded stakes Monday. We have some of the graded stakes covered over at Naira Bets in the first stakes roundup. There'll be another stakes roundup up in the next couple of days covering some Monday races from Belmont and Santa Anita as well.
Cross country pick 5. 3 at Churchill, around 2 here. All those races will be on America's Day at the Races. Belmont Stakes tickets. Go to belmontstakes.com. Get your tickets. Come to Belmont. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be an amazing day. And it's 12:30 to 6. FS2. All right.
The deuce.
We're done.
See you later tomorrow.
I'll be here. I'm on late today.
Okay.
Show starting in a few minutes. It's all happening. Johnny I up next with a reprise, Scratch and Changes. Have a wonderful day at Belmont Park.